I want you to react to this and I want your opinion on it. Maybe we can make a video out of it.
All right.
Because we keep talking about like movies and like the la fantasy.
Oh, that's the Notebook.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me when I'm being an arrogant son of a bitch, and I tell you when you're being a pain in the ass. Which you are, 99% of the time. I'm not afraid to hurt your feelings. They have like a 2-second rebound rate, and you're back doing the next pain in the ass thing. So what? So it's not gonna be easy. It's gonna be really hard. We're gonna have to work at this every day, but I want to do that because I want you. I want all of you, forever. You and me, every day. Would you just stay with me?
Stay with you. What for? Look at us. We're already fighting.
Well, that's what we do. We fight. You tell me when I'm being an arrogant son of a bitch, and I tell you when you're being a pain in the ass. Which you
It's pretty
are,
good.
99% of the time.
Yep.
I'm not afraid to hurt your feelings. They have like a 2-second rebound rate.
Women are a pain in the ass a lot.
So what?
So it's not
That's
gonna
good.
be easy. It's gonna be really hard.
So what's your opinion on that?
Well, it's definitely true because I mean, we talked about this before, but it's like that, Bob Marley said is that everybody is going to hurt you, especially the people that you love. Everybody you love is going to hurt you in some way, shape, or form. And the key is to find which people are worth suffering for. And that's what they're talking about in that clip is that he's like, you're a bitch, you're a pain in my ass. And I know I'm an arrogant dickhead, but that's how relationships are. And you're supposed to call me out when I'm being an arrogant asshole or a dickhead. And I'm going to call you out when you're being an insufferable bitch or an insufferable cunt.
Right.
And, that's what love is to communicate to the other person, ideally in a loving way,
Right.
not fighting, but communicating and pointing out that the way the other person is treating you or their behavior is inappropriate.
Yeah.
And talking in a calm manner. I mean, granted, that's Hollywood and it gets hyped up, but I mean, relationships are messy and sometimes people get excited and their feelings, they get their panties in a wad, they get their feelings all wrapped up and they react based upon their feelings. And so you got to be able to say things that are truthful, but they're not very nice and it's going to hurt the other person's feelings. But if they're doing things that are out of line or inappropriate, you have to tell them, even if it hurts their feelings or it's going to make them cry or it's an unpleasant, uncomfortable truth.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing that women love about us guys and love about men is that we have the confidence to tell you what we're really thinking or what we think of you or your behavior or the way you've treated us. Versus just going, oh, everything's great because we're worried to upset you and potentially lose you.
Yeah.
And the reality is women have to know that if they push a guy too far, we'll walk and we'll never fucking look back.
Right.
It's like if you cross that line, women got to know. They got to be able to feel that. They got to be able to feel that I'm probably never going to hear from this dude again unless I pick up the phone and call him or go see him or apologize.
Right.
And if she's willing to let you go, then, well, she really didn't care enough to change her behavior. And that's okay. That's going to happen sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes people, their personalities don't jive or they're not compatible or they don't really get along and they don't care for one another enough. They don't like each other enough to want to change or to do the things that the other person wants to do. And then you got to lay it all out there and they can either say yay or nay.
Yeah. The idea is to keep on working together. The whole idea is to be together, stay together, and get better and healthy, not to just run away at any little inconvenience, because that's not love. If you love someone, you're going to tell them when they're wrong, when they're right, and what you can do together as a team to figure it all out. But yeah, I saw that video and I was just like, I love this because it's so true. Like, I'm going to tell you things you don't like. It might sound hurtful. You might not like it, but it's coming out of love. It's not hate. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm just trying to be honest and truthful because I care about you. And I don't know, that video just made me feel like, oh, I love this. This is like a definition of love that I would like to have in the future.
Yeah, what's interesting about that scene is that it starts out, I mean, I don't know the whole context. I haven't seen that movie in over 20 years, whenever it came out. But she's basically, I'm leaving, you're being a jerk, and I'm leaving.
Yeah.
He's upset her, and she's, going to storm off. And he's like, you shouldn't leave. Let's talk it out. Let's work it out.
Right.
And it reminded me of I had a girlfriend of mine. We had just moved in together and got our house all together and everything. And I don't remember what it was about, but she got upset, started crying, and she's like, "That's it. I'm leaving. I'm going home."
Mm-hmm.
Like starting to pack a bag, and like she's gonna just leave and go back to her parents' house. And I was
Mm-hmm.
thinking, number one, it's like that's kind of embarrassing because we need to be able to work our problems out between her and I, and
Right.
not just get mad and leave and go back to mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just like, we need to sit and talk. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. It wasn't my intent. But what you
Mm-hmm.
did upset me, or we ended up talking and working things out. And so I think that's the reason why I brought that up is because sometimes women will suggest the end of the relationship or suggest space or suggest that you need time apart. Not because they really want that, but
Right.
because they want to see, does he care enough about me to tell me to stay? Or is he
Mm-hmm.
just going to let me go?
Right.
And if he lets you go, well, then you assume that he doesn't give a shit. But if he's
Mm-hmm.
like, no, I want you to stay, let's talk and work it out. In other words, she's making it easy for the guy to tap out and go, yeah, see you later. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it's not a real big deal that you're disagreeing over, you're like, I don't want you to leave. I don't need space. I don't want a break. It's
Yeah.
like we're butting heads on something and we need to work it out. We need to talk it out.
Mm-hmm.
And a good woman will do that.
Mm-hmm.
A woman who's a train wreck and a lunatic will be like, no, screw you. And then she'll take off and you won't hear from her for 3 or 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then she'll calm down and then get in touch and then want to act like nothing ever happened. Oh, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
There, there are women out there that are like that, and you'll never be able to work out any differences. You'll just have to deal with silent treatment for 3 or 4 days, and then she'll come back and expect you to just sweep it under the rug like nothing ever happened. And that's not adult communication, and I don't want to be in a relationship with somebody that behaves that way.
Right. And I think some people don't realize in the moment that whatever you're fighting about might be just so little, but the way it's like being blown out of proportion, it starts becoming something bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you're in this whole rut where you're just like, I don't think it's ever going to get better. But then when you realize, what are we really arguing about? What are we fighting over? It's just the tiniest little thing. So it's like, it could be so simple, so easy to figure things out, but stubborn people
Stop
just.
leaving your damn toothpaste in the sink, Caroline.
Right. And that turns into, oh, but you're dirty. You see, you don't clean. You don't
Pick your
respect
towels up
me.
off the bathroom floor, Caroline.
Like, I don't know.
Your hair is everywhere. Your hair's all over my sink.
Then it turns into a conversation. Well, really, I just don't like the person you are. And then, boom, that's a whole new argument, new fight. Wait, you don't like me? What are we going to do? It's like, just stick to what really matters in the moment, and it's your relationship, how you want to get better and come together so you can just move on and be happy.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to come together. To come together as a couple in holy matrimony.
And in this scene, they were actually arguing. She was leaving because she already left him the first time. He was broke and she was a millionaire, rich from a rich family. But she still loved him even though he couldn't afford anything. And he realized that her life was going to keep moving on, and he felt that he was going to hold her back because she was going to Harvard or something like that in New York, and they were in like North Carolina or something. And she was like, "You can come with me. Come with me to New York." And he's like, "What am I going to do in New York?" And she was like, "Be with me." And he was just like, "No." And that's when he realized, I need to let this girl go. So he said, I think you're better off without me. And it broke her heart because she was just like, I don't care how much money I have, how much money you have. I just want to be with you. But that tells me that you're not confident, you're not secure as a man. She ended up leaving to New York. And then that same day that she was flying away, he realized, what am I doing? I'm an idiot. That's the love of my life. And he runs back to her house, and she's already gone. And he doesn't see her ever again. He sends her letters, and then the mom like throws out the letters so that she doesn't find them. And years pass by. She meets someone new. Then she finds out that he's doing better, that he is working, he has money, he's successful, and comes back. And he's with the same attitude, just insecure and not sure if he's the man for her. And that's when that happened. She was like, you know what? I'm just going to leave. And then he realized, I just want to fight for you. I want to be with you.
Well, part of her leaving is it's like what I was talking about before. It's a test. She
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really want to leave. She's not intent on leaving. She's saying that in hopes that he fights
Fights.
for her, if you
Yeah.
will,
Mm-hmm.
which is him basically saying, "Get your ass back here. Let's talk. Let's work this out. I don't want you going anywhere. It's like not a big deal. Let's just talk this out."
Right.
And so that's that scene reminds me of that. A conversation I had with a girlfriend that had just moved in with me, and we butted heads about something, and she got so upset. She was, packing a bag to go back to her parents' house. I was like, it's ridiculous. I didn't let her go.
Mm-hmm.
But I did have a situation years later with a girl that I was really super in love with, and I was still learning this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, well, maybe we need some time apart, and you need to think about things and how you feel about things. And I heard all that, and it caught me off guard, and I was like, I don't really like. Well, if that's what you really want to do, I don't really want any space. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay.
Oh
And then we hung
no.
up. And then I don't know, it's like four or 5 days later, I still hadn't heard from her. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, man, she's really fucking pissed. And I later heard this from her brother. It's
Mm-hmm.
like after I hung up with her, she's like, Corey doesn't love me no more. He doesn't
Oh my
care.
gosh.
And it led to a series of events that ultimately ended the relationship. And it was because it's like I had done it with somebody else I had been with. I did the right thing, but with this one, because I really loved her, and I
Mm-hmm.
still hadn't connected all the dots at the time, the
Yeah.
stuff that I teach now, I was like, okay. I let her go, even
Mm-hmm.
though I didn't really want her to go, and she was making it easy for me to dip out.
Right.
And the way she took it was like I didn't want to be with her anymore.
Mm-hmm. And you didn't think to like call her later? You were waiting on her to reach out to you?
Yeah, I just figured, well, because she's like, well, we should take some time apart, and so you can see how you feel about things.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. She wants time apart. It's
Oh.
kind of like when a woman says, fine, it's fine, Corey. It's not fine.
Yeah, no.
So you have, so I had a situation like that one time.
Mm-hmm.
I did everything right. And another time I completely fucked up, and it ended my relationship with somebody who was one of the loves of my life at the time.
Who broke contact? Or was contact ever broken, or that just you guys ended indefinitely?
I don't think we spoke. I think it was like it was like a week and a half later, I went to her cousin's wedding, and she was there.
Oh.
Because we were both going to go, but obviously we didn't go together.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up sitting together at dinner, and her brother and I were talking. He's like, "Dude, you're fucking up." And then I told him my side of the story, what happened. He's like, "Oh, I didn't know that," because obviously she told him her portion
Yeah.
of it. But at the end of the day, things didn't really click. Some things happened after that. Some things she didn't said. Some things I didn't said, and then
Oh.
ultimately it ended. But it wasn't until years later
Mm-hmm.
when I looked back, I was like, oh, I totally saw where I had fucked up.
Yeah.
And that experience of getting burned like that or losing a relationship like this, like over the last 20 something years I've been doing this, I've helped countless dudes with that to not make the same mistake I did and keep
Right.
their marriage together or their relationship or whatever. Because like all this stuff that I teach, I've been up the mountain, down the mountain, falling down the mountain, been at the top of the mountain, falling down again.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you finally learn something and you connect enough of the dots, it's like you kind of get through the shadow of the valley of death, if you will.
Yeah.
Then it's like you know how to do it, and then you can teach other people where all the landmines are
Mm-hmm.
that will wreck their relationship, and you can get them through the minefield
Right.
and get them to the promised land where they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though all those things happen were very unpleasant and breakups suck, and that one really hurt bad,
No.
it's like I learned a lot from it, and it
Mm-hmm.
made me a better man. All the girlfriends I've had since then got the benefit of that, and then obviously tens of thousands of phone session clients and people I've emailed with, and millions of people around the world over the last 20 years that have learned this stuff,
Yeah.
and it's helped them. So
You need experiences like that in order to grow, unless you would never know to this day. So it benefited you. It hurt, but it made you grow. So
it's a painful lesson. Pain
yeah.
is life's change agent. It's life's way of saying that what you're doing is wrong.
Right. And either you can keep on going in that routine or make a change.
Yeah, it was part of it was I was still learning the balance between pursuing too much and not enough. And in that case, I didn't pursue enough.
Enough, yeah.
And then it led to the end of the relationship. I was too much of a cold fish.
Right.